Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a weekend review for the week ending January 3rd, 2025. It's a new year, and we're going to be looking at the monthly closes on a lot of names, the quarterly closes, and see what it's telling us about the possibilities of higher or lower prices in Q1. Right now we're taking a look at the S&P 500. Nothing wrong. I mean, this trend started back here in January of 2023, and it's still in full force. Now, just to be clear, coming out of the COVID low, you had a year and 8 months. We've exceeded that time and price for this move. Again, you could go back and take a look at all the other times this is fired, but right now this is in trend mode. Weekly divergences continue to build, pulled back to the 20, caught a bit. Daily, battle at the 50-80, PPOs flip negative. Okay, so until this PPO can get positive, until price can get above the declining 20, the evidence is for lower prices. It's just that simple. Even coming all the way back up here to 600 does not do anything. Okay, you've got to come all the way back up and close above this area of supply. And until that happens, you would assume rallies are to be sold. On the daily, we have a series of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, until she can close above 602, we haven't even changed that. Let's take a look at the other leaders, QQQ and SMH. Same story. Okay, QQQ is a little bit stronger. Again, nothing wrong here. You do have this gravestone doji on the monthly. In order to confirm this, we need to get a close below 509 by January 31st. Right now, she just pulled back to the 5, and as you can see, she rides this trend very, very clear. All dips have been bought. Now, again, this has been going on for a while now, and we are quite a bit extended from the 20. Pulling back to the 20 would be very healthy and would allow new market participants to join. Ideally, that would be happening right now. Pull back right here, and that happens. There's nothing wrong with this chart. It is very, very bullish, and dips are likely to get bought. That being said, as we look at the monthly, let's take a look at the quarterly. I mean, we've seen this thing go for quite some time. This is clearly our first move, our second move, which is always the best. And now we're on the third and final move of this 5-wave advance that started all the way back in 2002, this secular bull. And again, there's nothing wrong with this chart. Absolutely nothing wrong. Dips will be bought for quite some time. Now, will that change in 2025? I don't know. I don't have any evidence to think that it will. For me to think that something is going to be different than the way it was, I would need to have evidence to support that. Like we did back here in April. At this point, you knew 2022 was not going to be good. All right, let's run around the horn. SMH, trying to break out of this triangle. Clearly a distribution pattern. A 30% decline is no joke. And if you look at 16%, 30%, I mean, this thing is under heavy distribution going back to the start of the year. We just have a consolidation pattern and nothing has changed. Okay, this is still a triangle. Nothing has changed. Inside on the month, inside pattern continues. To me, this looks like a triangle. A, B, C, break this high here, D, and then fall all the way back down to E. I could be wrong. Outside on the weekly, outside on the weekly, inside, outside, inside. I mean, this is just a chop fest, okay? Until we get a break in a clear direction, you've missed nothing. Transport's trying to hold the 200 on the daily. Again, very, very weak. Looking at the monthly, very, very weak. closed below the previous month low. First time that happened since April. But again, pulling back to a rising 10, a rising 20, holding and closing above these levels is important. But last month closed below the 10. That is of note. And pulling back to the 20, it does not mean as much because we were just at the 20 in August. And if we look at the quarterly here, it's quite a different picture, right? Not a good look. Same thing with IWM. Double top look. Can't break out. Go to the monthly, pull back. Again, we've been riding the 510 the whole way up. Could pull all the way back to 208. Give us that right. Give us that handle look on the right side of this cup. At this point, though, this channel has done a very good job at predicting supply and demand for almost in all of 2024. And it's likely that will continue until it breaks. At this point, though, you've got the weakest momentum you've seen. This pattern of higher low and momentum has broken, and that's causing me to be very cautious. Again, pull back to the 20, the rising 20, 3-week close below. IWM weak, IYT weak, SMH in a consolidation pattern, SPY and QQ Q leading higher. Let's take a look at gold. Again, momentum is pulled back to where we want it to be on the weekly. Price is at the 20. That's all it's been able to do. I'd love it if it came back to the 50, retest the 225 level, confirm demand. Looking at the monthly, inside month. That's all you've got. Inside month. Taking a look at the quarterly. Not a great look. Still does have this cup and handle look. Has this bull flag look. At minimum, we're looking at 344 at minimum. 1, 2, 3. We don't have a 5-wave move higher on the quarter yet. So I still think there's more left in the gold tank. And wave 5 is always the highest with gold. At least that's what they have in the books. Quarterly for bonds. This is a downtrend, right? You see this trend sold Q3 2021, still in the sell configuration. When I zoom in here, you get a very clear look. Zigzag higher, flat. This thing's going to break the lows. There's no doubt about it. And quite frankly, could come a lot lower than 80. But breaking 80.51 is on the table. And buying that dip makes sense to me. Again, but just an absolute downtrend that cannot get off the mat. And taking a look here at the dollar, doing very well, very strong, above all moving averages on the quarterly on every time frame. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the intermarket analysis pair charts that I follow. This here, IWM versus QQQ. Never own IWM. This is a 20-year chart. Do not own it. Look at this. Trade IWM. Never own it. This is SPY versus UUP. Okay, now this is a very concerning look. Either she's going to hold here at the 20 and 19, or this is the start of a much weaker period in time where the flight to safety will be cash, just like in 2022. Here's that SPY versus TLT. Clearly, equities are outperforming bonds. This is the case to not own bonds in one chart. This one chart will dismantle Michael Gaed's, award-winning theory. Anyways, so SPY versus gold. Clearly a triangle, just continuing to consolidate. Hasn't gone anywhere. But if we pull up more time here, you could see that ever since 2011, SPY has been outperforming gold. And maybe that will continue, maybe that will change. But at this point, the evidence is telling us to, at least in the last 5 years, it makes sense to own both. Okay, so what do I think is going to outperform? If we look here at the quarterly for XLE, it's pulled back to mean. I like that look a lot. Momentum has cooled off and is back to the zero line on the monthly, and we are above the previous week's close. Daily captured the 20. I mean, this looks very, very strong to me. XLY, another leader here, but put in a gravestone doji. Concerning look, not as strong. Okay. Now, if she can hold 215, I think this looks great. Absolutely great. And some leaders within here, like Lulu, Urban Outfitters. Those are the names that I've been looking at. Right. So I'll just show you a couple. Right. Very, very strong. Close it high on month. Close it high on week. Very, very strong. Lulu a little bit weaker, doing the whole breakaway gap thing, testing that gap, trying to hold that gap. As long as this level holds, I expect this thing to double again from here. Again, all hinging on how this chart plays out. So, looking pretty good. Let's pull up tech. And I don't see a lot of upside left in tech for 2025. I just don't. So we'll see how this one plays out. Again, trend mode is still up, clearly. Nothing wrong with this chart. But as you start connecting some of these dots, we're reaching the tail end. XLF looking pretty good, but right up against supply. I expect this to do some mean reversion in Q1 and Q2 of 2025. XLC has been a leader for most of 2022 and 2023 and 2024. Pulled back to mean again. This one looks a bit long in the tooth, but nothing wrong with the yellow above the orange. Clearly a trend that everyone can participate in. Watch last month's low for clues if this is ending. Some of the leaders in this ETF are Netflix. That's definitely the one I like to trade. Pulled back to the 50 again. Failure to hold here opens up the 200. That's where I'd like to participate in this trend. In fact, I think I'm going to make an alert for this. Done. That way I know when we get there. So like the leaders in that particular space, right? This one's got a little bit higher. If she wants it, coming back down to 700 would be a great entry. Very good risk reward. It might even align with tagging the 200 on the monthly, or the 20 on the monthly. Let's take a look at some of the leaders within the energy space. Oxy clearly doing well going back 2 weeks. Outperforming ExxonMobil. APA looking good. And EQT. Those are the names that I'm tracking here in the energy sector. Got to take a look at NVIDIA, the king. Outside week on the weekly. Had a red month last month, but again, just pulling back to this trend that everyone can participate in. Look how many times she's touched this yellow line. If you just bought every time she touched the yellow line, you'd have a pretty good entry. That being said, this one looks long in the tooth. The last run was 2 years and 5 months. That means we're coming into the end here. Okay, and not just that, monthly is already rolled. And we'll take a look here at the quarterly, which again looks fine. There's nothing wrong here, but you can tell the histogram is rolling. I'm going to look at the quarterly here for SMH and the monthly for SMH. I mean, it's all the same. Maybe there's one more high here, but that's it. I don't anticipate this doing much more, and that would simulate this little distribution thing here that happened before the fall. Again, momentum has rolled. This one's done. One more high at best, and then she's done. Either way, it's late stage. Okay, we're not at the beginning of something new. Stop telling me this is the start of something new. It's not. This is the start of a new correction. That's what this is. All right. That's pretty much all I had. I do like BBW quite a bit. Build-A-Bear, going back on the quarterly. Absolute monster. OII, absolute monster. Higher low, inverse head and shoulders, did the throwback. Momentum just screaming higher. Every dip has been bought into the yellow line. Now this blue line will continue to provide supply. As soon as she gets above 28, this thing's going to all-time highs, but she'll stop at 42 first. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I try to keep this one a little bit quick. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.